Hello and welcome to today's round 10 of the Invictus Racing League Realistic Performance with myself, Andrew Gattin, and Dom the Noodle. How are you doing, Dom?
I'm not too bad, Mr. Andrew Gatton, sir. Yeah, tonight we're at China, Shanghai. I've done this track guide once, but I'll do it again anyway. 3.3 mile circuit, closer to 3.4 when you add in the extra like yards and stuff. But yeah, it's a pretty long circuit. Lap record set in 2004 by the wonderful Michael Schumacher over 1 minute 32.2, and yeah, I believe it's nine to the right, nine to the left today. I might be mistaken. But if I'm not mistaken, I read nine to the left, nine to the right. So yeah, there's that. It's also 380 meters from the start line to turn one. Also, fun fact for the circuit: drivers spend 55% of this race at full throttle, which is, I mean, if you know your maths, just over half. So flat out racing tonight, Andrew.
Definitely, and I think the one thing that we need to watch out for is that back straight coming down into Sector 3. That one, big DRS zone. There's going to be a lot of overtakes there today, given if it's a dry race or not. The good thing is that on Tuesday it wasn't. It was completely soaking out there, and a lot of the drivers, obviously no DRS, so a lot of the drivers actually were relying on slipstreaming and easy corners rather than trying to full throttle around some of them, which is quite strange. Normally on this track, because of that coming into Sector 2 on the left-hander, you've got that heavy speed. You've got to have balls to be able to take that corner at a fair rake of knots.
Yeah, it was. So yeah, I'll agree. I'll address these as you said them. Wet race on Tuesday. Yeah, very very wet. The two drivers out in front, DJ Danny, who was racing tonight, and another driver, Thunderdome. Both of them really really battling it out. They're about a sector ahead of everyone when they crossed the line to finish the race. So really well done to those two for managing to get that far ahead on a wet track. But yeah, as you mentioned, the really long back straight, potential for a lot of dive bombs, which can cause a lot of mistakes. It's also the potential to lock up and start shredding your tyres, which is not something you want here, due to the fact that it can be quite cold. Your tyres start to wear through a little bit quicker because they're not quite reaching their optimal temperature, their optimum temperature, and so your tyres start to degrade. And if you're locking up into the hairpin, it can really affect your tyres. And like you said, the long left-hander into turn two, it's really just you stick your foot on the throttle and hope and pray that there's no one in your way on a slower lap because they've had a spin or something like that, because it really really is a fast track. If I'm not mistaken, last week during a practice session that I done to sort of ready myself for this track, I spun it a few times on the curb, so the curbs seem to be quite slippy here too tonight.
Yeah, so not just the fact that they're quite slippy, it's the kind of astro that they use just after the curbs that can just drag you onto the curb, and that's not what you want in these cars. The thing about them is if you put the car just a little too far to the right, for example, on that curb, you will mount the underfloor on that, and you'll just lose all downforce, and you'll be goodbye in the world of speed, and hello to Spinala, unfortunately, and you will lose it into the wall. I'm sorry that I have used that term because that has been used so many times in parties over the past few weeks. But yeah, I think you've got to think about the overall speed of this track. It's a fantastic track to race around. I used to drive around this track quite a lot on 2018 and 2019, and the fact that obviously we didn't get to see it last year due to the pandemic, it's going to be fantastic to see it back on the grid again. Hopefully, not so much this year, but next year on the grid. It'll be a good track to race around. But just going to run through a few of the things on today's race. The car allocations obviously are a little bit stranger today because we've only got 15 drivers on the grid. But talking about that, we will say that we have no drivers in the Williams. So the slowest cars today are the Alfa Romeos. And a few of the guys were complaining about the Alfa Romeo not being too, stuck to the ground, which is fair enough. The car is quite non-aero dependent on the rear, but more on the front end, just because they know that the car isn't really optimized with the Ferrari engine. But other than that, we do have a new guy on the grid tonight. I'm just going to try and find his name. But I do believe it is AMG Reckless, and he's going to be starting at the back of the grid because there is no quali tonight, and he's starting at the back of the grid, and he's going to be in the Ferrari. So he's a guy to watch tonight, as we've not really seen this guy race before. So hopefully we can get some good action from him.
Yeah, hopefully we can. Also another thing to note that I just remembered as well. It's also popped up in my notes. The braking around here. So, the penultimate corner is the hairpin. Everyone knows that you're about 211 to 215 miles an hour into that braking zone, and if you've got the DRS on another car, it's a lot higher. So, you know, if you're hitting the brakes, you're getting those discs up to the 1,000 degree temperature mark that most F1 cars are known to hit with their brakes, which allows you to, well, I say allows you, which hinders you then with your performance into the following turn, which is the sharp left hand. I say the sharp left hand, the 90-degree left-hander onto the main straight, the start-finish straight, which is not what you want because, you know, those brakes have to cool down. So you have to find a way to keep the brakes cool whilst maintaining perfect braking efficiency into the next corner. Otherwise, you get brake going to be too hot, you're braking earlier, or they just don't work, and you end up going onto the runoff area, which sometimes picks up as track limits here, sometimes it doesn't. And the last thing you want is people to be complaining that someone's taking the Lewis Hamilton line at the end of the race, and so on and so forth. Also, as per standard, all three tyre compounds are usable tonight. Plus the inters and the wets, so the softs, the mediums, and the hards, and the pit lane. Now the pit lane's an awkward one because of the entry and the exit. The pit lane itself is a very standard, stereotypical pit lane, straight from start to finish, no bends, no kinks, no anything like that. So you're flat out into the last turn of the race, but you extend yourself of the lap. You extend yourself about, what, I'd say 20-30 yards, and then you've got to take a sharp left-hander and enter. But the exit puts you right on the apex for turn 1, and people are taking that turn at about 150, 180 mile an hour, which is very, very dangerous. So people's awareness is going to have to be on point tonight to make sure that there are no collisions into turn 1 after a pit stop.
Definitely, Dom, and I think touching on that point with the sharp left-hander onto start-finish straight, we are going to be very wary with track limits tonight, as we do know for a fact that the cars, if you just put a little bit too much gas, you are going to overshoot the corner and go on to the Astro. And as we've seen there, obviously in 2019, that's not the place you want to be, with Alex Albon taking a massive shunt into the barrier there. And yeah, lucky he was sideways into that, because that was going to be, if he had taken that rearwards or front on, he could have really hurt himself into the side there. But talking about that as well, we're going to be looking for track limits there as well today, since we run strict on the RP. It's going to be very much, who is going to be on the track limits today, time penalty wise, as we ready up and get ready to go for today's reversed grid race around China.
Yeah, very much so. Track limits here are, I wouldn't say strict in a way. You can find yourself in a lot of trouble if you keep cutting up so you can take the penultimate corner, slightly earlier, and you can cut up the rumble strip even on strict track limits. But you've really got to be careful. And like I say, every race I commentate on, keep yourself out of penalties. You will gain positions, and not just that, but the undercut here is massive, and I mean you can gain 5, 6, 7 positions if you time it right. If I'm not mistaken, most people will try to go for a soft to hard here. I will bring up my predicted strategy. So some people are going to possibly go medium to hard, or hard to medium, or 2 stops. Will be soft, medium, or soft, hard, and then soft, medium, or really, the choice is yours tonight. It just depends on how you deal with tyre wear. Also, Andrew, as per usual, it is your time to tell us about what other races we've got going on, when they go on, where they go on, and what platform they're on.
Definitely. So, here comes my expert plugging skills for the Invictus weekly schedule. So, for Monday night, at the same time we go live at 8 o'clock, we have the PS F1 streamed by Gareth and Sab on YouTube. On Tuesdays, we do have the PS F2 League at 8 o'clock, streamed by Malc on YouTube. On Tuesdays as well, you can catch us live on here with Keiran Right 92 and Dom, who is joining me tonight in the comms box. They'll be taking part in the Xbox F1 League, which obviously starts same time. PS F3 League on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. We have it streamed by Hoopers and Vojtech on YouTube, and PS F4 also on Wednesdays at the moment with Andriy at the same time, and you'll find that live exactly on the YouTube channel in Invictus Racing League. We also have on Wednesdays the PC F1 League, which is streamed on YouTube by JCol and Dan. We also have the PC F2 League, which again Geek and It's Fozzy take the reins there at 8 o'clock as well. But again, every Thursday you can catch us live on here on the Twitch channel with myself and Matt. Obviously, Dom filling in for Matt this week as he had other commitments. And yeah, that's obviously live at 8 o'clock. And PSRP as well is on Thursdays at 8 o'clock, streamed by Tim and Malc on YouTube. So you can always jump between or have two tabs open, and you can listen to my comms and Dom's comms whenever you like, as you can catch our streams live on here. They obviously get uploaded to YouTube every week on the Invictus YouTube channel. We're just waiting for a few of the drivers to ready up, and we will be in for the formation lap around the Shanghai International Circuit.
Yeah, so as I was going to say, many hours worth of racing on YouTube if you have got the time. And with COVID and people not working at the moment, trust me, you've got the time. Go check some out. And we are aware as well that some mics might sound crackly. Unfortunately, there is an issue we seem to have with Twitch. We haven't quite isolated that issue yet. As to whether or not it's Twitch or if it's the F1 game or if it's Xbox, but yeah, we are aware of that issue and we are waiting for a response from the relative parties.
Definitely, and in talking that way as well, hopefully soon we will have some good streaming set up for the Thursday leagues, as I should be able to start streaming it live from my PC instead of the Xbox. So hopefully we should eliminate the need for Xbox parties being crackly. But yes, as we see Thunderdome 2686, he's lining up on the start finish straight of the grid. He is in the Haas. DJ Danny, he is in the Alfa Romeo. James F1 ETC is in the Renault for this week. Lightshock 16 is going to be in the Alpha Tauri. Botch Gerbil in the other Renault. Sir Sharks is going to be taking it in the McLaren. Stallion W7 in the Haas. AC Oak Hill 04 is going to be in the Red Bull, the only Red Bull on the track this evening. The Josh 32 is going to be in the pink Mercedes. Sorry, the
Racing Point.
Well, I'm gonna keep it pink Mercedes, but yeah, Racing Point. And IRL Mats is going to be in the other Alpha Tauri. Ferramoto is going to be in the other Alfa Romeo Orlin. We have Jamie29X obviously taking his very first victory in RP last week round Paul Ricard in France in the McLaren. El Senado in the only Mercedes. And Raza410, he's going to be in the Racing Point again, as he was for the Silverstone Grand Prix a few weeks ago. And AMG Reckless starting on the soft tyres at the back of the pack in Ferrari. So that rounds off our 15 car grid for this evening's RP race on the Xbox with Invictus Racing League.
Yeah, very much so, and I'm glad you mentioned AMG Reckless on the softs. He's the only person that's reckless enough to attempt to do what the others are not. Also, DJ Danny being second on the hard compound tyre, that is a mix-up. I know he likes the alternate strategy, but I didn't think he'd go this alternate.
Definitely. It's quite a strange one as well, as it's kind of a a difficult one to talk about. But we are going 5 red lights. And off we go for the 10th round of the RP here at Shanghai International Racing Circuit. Thunderdome getting off really well off the line. He's about half a second already up on DJ Danny as James F1 tries to take it around the outside. He switches. He actually causes contact there, as I think that was... If you don't
Light Shock.
There, I think it was Light Shock who had a little bit of an off there round the second corner. But again, Thunderdome, oh, a bit of contact there as James F1 has a bit of a lock-up coming into that corner. Watch Gerbil getting off really well as well. He's actually drafting the other Renault moving out of the slipstream a little bit. Is Botch Gerbil going to make a move around the outside? Yes, he does. He's going to make it stick. A little bit of a lock-up there.
I've just watched as well El Senedo, someone that's been the focal point of a few races recently. He's just well, really well. Okay, so he's basically just sent AC Oak Hill for fishing for his dinner, because not only did he undercut him into the long left-hander, but he then sent him on a different braking zone to the point where AC Oak Hill just had to just go around him.
3 wide down the straight, actually, looking at that. 3 wide as he takes the Haas on the full speed. Stallion W7 can't do anything in the Haas. Obviously Ferrari powered engines this year were a little bit, well, how can we say, underpowered in comparison to the Mercs and the Renaults. Even the Hondas actually, even though Honda had reliability issues. But DJ Danny crossing the line fastest on 1:39.8. Be expected there, Sir Sharks. Car in front at the moment.
Thunderdome seems to have been pushed wide as well. I can't see damage, but I will keep an eye out. He has got damage. So there's been a collision into turn 1, which is very, very common here. And it has caused him time and damage. So he's not going to be quite so happy about that.
Yeah, he's got a bit of damage to his front right end plate, and we know how pinnacle those end plates are, as they can really lead to downforce issues. It stops the airflow over the car from being too radical on the wheels, and can cause massive wash on cars behind as well. Even though it is not massively simulated in the game, he could actually, potentially in real life, for having that damage, be mechanical black and white flagged, and told that he has to come into the pits over the next 3 laps, otherwise he could be disqualified. But that, unfortunately, is not simulated in the race on the game. But yeah, as we see him coming through the pack there, he is losing a bit of time on the car. He is actually down in 12th position at this moment in time. Light Shock 16 as well, he's actually drafting him down the straight here as we come into what is a good position. He is going to take the inside line into the hairpin. Obviously Honda Power
Oh, there's been collision as they go 3 wide into the hairpin at the end of that long straight. And I do also like to point out that James F1 has also overtaken DJ Danny to put Renault's both P1 and P2 on the grid so far.
AMG Reckless on the soft tyres, just running in 8th position at the moment behind Stallion W7. Stallion having a massive show up in Monza this year. Hopefully we can see a bit of a difference now, as he's actually going to try and take the inside line. He's gaining time on Stallion with the less aero on the car, but again, I don't think it's enough. If Stallion is going to defend on the outside here, he's just trying to take the line. I don't think he thinks AMG Reckless is much of a threat, but I think AMG Reckless is going to be one of these drivers that comes into the league and causes a bit of a stir in amongst the usual drivers. Bit off the line there, but he uses the rumble strip to get round. Nicely done from him, but Reckless is not letting him go. He is stuck to his rear wing right now. We'll maybe come back to that battle, as it does look like El Senedo is making positions up in the Merc.
Yeah, to be fair, El Senedo's got a really good car for this race. The Mercedes will always handle very well at China. It's very fast-paced corners, so yeah, it'll do what needs to be done there.
Fantastic fake there by the Josh 32 to get on the inside on the DRS. but it does seem very good defending from DJ Danny as he takes the inside line on that corner, but he is going to be off on a little bit of a problem here as he has to brake a little bit earlier as El Senado had the line into the corner. Very well done from him. He now has DRS on the Josh 32 on the start-finish straight.
Yeah, Lightshock sending it up the inside into turn 1 on IRL mats. Both of them in the AlphaTauri car, a car I very much have a soft spot for, as El Senado's picked up a 3-second time penalty.
Yeah, he just went a little bit too close to the inside of turn 2, as we know that one's going to be a bit of a problem today, as we described in the pre-race interviews. Josh 32 still holding off El Senado. Obviously right now as it stands, El Senado having that 3-second time penalty. He's went a little bit wide through there, back end a bit loose, but obviously massive aero developments on the Merc is allowing him to be a little bit smoother on the throttle.
Yeah, I've just watched JCol and Firmoto have wheel-to-wheel contact, nothing that will cause any damage, but should it cause some tyre wear, I mean they're both on the hard compound tyre with the same amount of laps on them, so they'll both feel it roughly at the same time.
Definitely, and talking about that, El Senado is actually going to have an awesome run here on the Josh 32 down the back straight here. Very nicely done from him, just a smooth overtake, and just behind as well, DJ Danny is losing a place to AMG Reckless on the soft tyres. Again, he is the only car to be running soft tyres in this race, so is he going to just go jump straight onto Hardstorm, or is he going to go 2-stop?
I'll probably see him do a 2-stop, maybe try the soft medium strategy if he's a wheel player, because as everyone knows, the wheel can control the tyres a lot better than a controller can control the tyres, because obviously they are a lot more smooth.
Kill there. Sorry to cut in, Dom. He's picked up a 3-second time penalty as well. He's been too aggressive at the moment, and he's actually losing places for it. This track is very much you've got to drive it with the instincts, you know, follow the car will do all the work. You just can't fight the car, don't you think, Dom?
Yeah, at a track like this, it very much is, the car tells you what it's going to do, and you basically have to guide it through its actions, because it doesn't really concave at all. I mean, there's no real angle to the track in a way, apart from the I believe it's turn maybe
turn
14. No,
turn
14. Turns 1, 2, and 14 are probably the biggest banking corners, because they really do sort of bank in. I mean, turn 14 really banks into the long back straight, and turns 1 and 2 kind of bank down the hill into like the rest of the first sector. So yeah, it really is, you kind of let the car do its own thing and just guide it through.
Yeah, and just talking about that there, El Senado being very aggressive on the back of Sir Sharks there. Through the final 2 corners, he was literally on the back, but because Sir Sharks has DRS on the car in front of James F1, Bots Gerbil still leading out in front at the moment, about 3.3 seconds ahead at this moment in time before pit stops. We're going to see a bit of a ruffle in the feathers here as Bots Gerbil, he might actually, if he's using his tyres very well here on the medium strat, the Josh 32 could undercut these guys.
Very much so. The Josh 32 has been a pretty decent racer from what I've seen, and I've not really seen much of him, so, I mean, quick impressions last, I suppose. Also, I don't know if that's a timing glitch on my end. It might not be. But by the looks of it, Jamie29X has now caught the rest of, at least AMG Reckless, who's now pitted for the medium tyre. So the original gap to Firmoto was about 21 seconds. It now looks to be 17, so he's caught him quite well.
Definitely, and I think you were saying soft, medium there for Reckless, but I think he's actually doing the alternative. He's going to go soft, medium, soft, which is fair enough, but that is Bots, Sir Sharks now past James F1 ETC now, nearly actually making a mess of that one there, but he used his ERS to get out of that mistake. running a little bit wide round the corner, as James is going to have DRS. It is making a little bit of an impact, but obviously ERS playing a big factor in Sir Shark's race so far. He's running in second position as we come into lap 7.
IRL Max just made a really nice move on the main straight on Stallion W7. DRS wide open, ERS all the way up, and fuel mix up, just to make sure that move was complete on the Haas. And it worked out well.
Yeah, and talking about that Thunderdome, he's had a bit of a rough one starting on hards, hasn't he? Not starting on hards, but he did pit stop to go straight onto hards from mediums. He maybe just didn't feel too comfortable on the medium tyres.
He had damage out of turn 1 of lap 2. No,
yeah,
bit later
I remember
on.
that. It was his. It was I think it was lap 2 or 3. He had damage in his right end plate, which he had to go and quickly get repaired because he was losing a lot of downforce. This track is very downforce intensive. It needs it. As we're coming into turn 4 now. On board with him. Jamie29X also pitting to get onto the hard tyres, but he's actually making a good impression on them at the moment. He is 10 seconds behind AMG Reckless, who also just pitted to get on the medium tyres.
Yeah, 5 seconds down isn't a bad place for the McLaren on.
We have a good view. It's a near dive bomb from El Senedo there on James F1 ETC. These group of cars at the front, Josh32 making a little bit of wheel spin out of that corner. Bit of a track cut there from El Senedo, but I'm sure he just managed to keep the car stable enough.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, Lightshock will probably be looking to do another move on Raza, seeing as Raza's taken that move back from him. However, they both had DRS on DJ Danny, who is, I say unfortunately, in the Alfa Romeo, because let's be honest, the Alfa Romeo isn't the best car on the grid. You've really got to do something special to make it work.
Definitely. I mean, we were talking about that earlier when we were checking the cars and stuff like that for this track, and a couple of the guys were saying the Alpha is just struggles with rear downforce and rear grip round here, so you really have to be careful in the throttle application. As DJ Danny, he'll be just a little bit loose on the tires, just to try and ease it into these corners. You just don't want to lose the back end round here because you'll just lose a lot of time. Admittedly, is DJ Danny running in 6th. Raza 410 might have a run on him down the back straight. These 3 cars are, only a second between each other here. Welcome to everybody at the stream. Just saying, obviously Loudmouth7 in the chat. He is Matty. He's quickly come in from work, saying smashing it, boys. Thank you very much. I mean, we're doing our best with what we have. Keiran saying the boys always smash it, mate. You know that. And Chloe saying good evening. Hope everyone is doing well tonight. We are doing great. Chloe in the comms box. We were getting ready for this race all day.
And by all day, he means I woke up at 1 o'clock this afternoon, and that's when I jumped on.
I mean, I was up at 11, didn't get out of my bed until about 1:30. So, I mean, you're not the only one. DJ Danny, he's really under pressure now. Raza 410 is all over the back of the rear wing of the Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, Raza's a really good.
W7.
Yeah, Raza's a really good driver.
Yeah, just going to say as well, Stallion W7 all over the back of AC Oakhill now as he's making those hard tyres start to work for him. In the back of the grid, the majority of the pack at the moment split between medium and hards. Nobody running soft tyres, which is maybe admittedly the best option for around here. Tyre wear is a bit of an annoyance.
Yeah, however, we do have the sun out today, and the sun will help the track become a little bit more grippy. I mean, a lot more grippy than the rain that we had on Tuesday. That was torrential.
Yeah, that was crazy. I was watching the race from the stream, and I was just thinking to myself, "Oh my God, how are we gonna make that work?" But yeah, we definitely watching the way that the race worked out for us. It was fantastic. So Josh32, nice on the brakes through there. He's locking up a little bit now on those hard tires, which is admittedly maybe down to tyre wear, but I doubt it. He is running hards.
DJ Danny just made the riskiest defensive maneuver I've ever seen. So he had Raza and Lightshock on his on his gearbox with DRS, and he pulled out to allow them the outside of the corner on the back straight, and he pulled across last second to try and get the outside of the corner and almost come into contact with Raza. Side-by-side contact that would have been with DJ Danny being about a half a tenth ahead at that point in time, but contact is contact, and it's always ticketable.
Definitely, and I mean, in some cases, contact can ruin your race, even if it's just a tiny bit of an end plate that flies off the cars. Especially around here, we're looking at high downforce track. It's relied. You need the downforce from the front wing to keep the car planted. Sir Shark's going a little bit wide around the corner there. Nice move at the back. I think El Sonedo still keeping the Josh 32 behind, as DJ Danny is admittedly 7.6 away from the top 5 at the moment. He's losing a bit of time. I don't know if that's just down to the car being a lot slower, but he has, you know, that distance of the car in front to catch. But Ferramoto getting a 3-second time penalty now, 10 laps into the race. So admittedly from him, he's a little bit scrappy on the car today. Again, he is driving the lesser downforced Alfa Romeo, but that, again, you know, 3-second time penalty is a 3-second time penalty. You have to be aware of that.
You can...
Actually, as the cars come through the last corner.
Yeah, I was going to say, Rasta 410 is starting to drive angry. DJ Danny is a really good defensive driver. He showed that on Tuesday, he showed that last Thursday, he showed that last Tuesday. And it's getting to the point now where it's starting to anger Raza because he just can't get past every move that DJ Danny makes. Raza tries to copy, but it's just not paying off.
Definitely, and I think another thing talking about that there, DJ Danny is, as we said, he is very defensive, but like Shock 16 is also, you know, even though he's a defensive driver, he is so offensive with his car. He knows where to put it on the track. He is also trying to get past Raza, which is going to make Raza a little bit more frustrated as he's trying to get away, but he's getting backed up, admittedly there. He's about 8.6 seconds off the top guys at the moment, DJ Danny. DJ Danny probably going to admittedly run a lot longer on the hard tyres. He knows how to make the tyres work round here.
Yeah, we're about to see a 4-horse race into as a 4 or a 3-horse race. I will confirm it momentarily. It looks to be a 4-horse race into the penultimate corner. A few cars then joining on the back of that. Oh, that was almost the Josh and James F1 both in the barrier. Don't know what happened. I think they both kind of lost grip, trying to stop themselves from hitting each other.
DJ Danny on the inside line, squeezing Raza into the side of the rumble strips there. But again, it's going to be a good defense down the main straight. But could Raza get him down on the start-finish straight? No, he actually made a mistake coming into the last corner. It's going to be down to who gets to the line first. Nice defense again coming on the inside. DJ Danny, is he going to hold it the outside? A bit of contact there between the two cars.
Yeah, and James F1 is the first official pit stop that isn't damage related. Is this undercut worth it? He's gone straight from mediums to hard, so he is looking for the one-stop strategy. I'm not very surprised at that at all. I did think that a lot of drivers would be doing something very, very similar. So yeah, he's the first official car to pit with no damage.
Yeah, definitely, and I think Bot's Gerbil, you know, he's leading this race by 6.7 seconds at the moment, so it would be interesting to see when he pits. Now that he's seen that James F1 has pitted, it could lead for Bot's Gerbil, his teammate, to, well, car teammate, to jump into the pits.
Very much so. He might also go for a hard option. There might have been some communication there, but talking about Bot's Gerbil, he's a driver that's very much on form at the moment. Has been in the equal performance and realistic performance, and has been doing really well in both for quite some time now. I'd say the past 2 or 3 weeks.
Good defense there again from DJ Danny, but it's not gonna. Is it gonna be enough this time? DJ Danny putting his car on the inside line. Is he gonna have him out of the corner? It does look like Raz has actually finally got past DJ Danny as they come onto the final corner, and they will lead us into the 13th lap of the race here at Shanghai. But he's going back to the outside. I don't know. He's actually trying to break the toe from DJ Danny, and admittedly, that could be a little bit of a cheeky move there from him, as DJ Danny's already fighting back, and I do believe that's Light Shock into the pits now. He's going onto the hard tyres.
Yeah, so Sharks as well, there was a few of them. I will confirm momentarily as to who we've had pits so far that wasn't for damage. So, AMG Reckless was the first official pit stop. My bad, he pitted for the softs to the mediums. He didn't have damage. He was just on dead tyres. But James F1, Botch, Jibble, Sir Sharks, and Light Shock have all changed from the medium compound to the hard compound tyre.
AMG Reckless actually having a bit of an on-track battle now with James F1. Very nicely done from him. Good defence to keep James F1 at bay. I don't know if James F1 will be very happy with that, because he'll be wanting to get back up the pack a little bit. But these three cars right now, Fairmoto, AMG Reckless, and James F1 having a little bit of a battle down in 9th, 10th, and 11th on the track. As AMG Reckless, nice dive bomb down the inside, but is it going to be enough? No, as Fairmoto keeps the car nicely planted, and now he's left the door open for James F1 to come through on this back straight. James F1 is going to make a move around the outside. Nicely done from him. Really good work to make that stick, as he is now in the lead with DRS on Fairmoto and AMG Reckless. AMG Reckless is going to have the inside line. Fairmoto cannot defend. Nice dive bomb in the inside. He actually completely cut the course there. I think he will give the place back, as he does take Time Bentley for that one. I think he just missed. A bit unfortunate on the corner timing there from him, but fantastic move.
El Sonido also
F1
now into the pits. He's changed from what I believe to be mediums to hards. Yeah, himself and Stallion W7, those are now on the hard compound tyre. So yeah, the pit stops are now going to slowly start to roll in. I mean, we've still got a few drivers to pit. AMG Reckless is still on the medium tyre, but he can take this for a few more. He'll probably go for another set of mediums, or a set of softs, depending on how he's feeling with his tyre wear. And if he can remember how many laps he'd done on the softs. Also above him then, and beneath him, you've got Fairmoto, JB29X, and Thunderdome all on old tyres. ACO Kill, IRL Mats, DJ Danny, Raza
worth out of the soft tyres. I'm hoping Dom hasn't died. Nope, Dom, are you still here with me? Yeah, it was just a bit of an issue. Oh, a bit of contact there as Sir Sharks dove down the inside of AC Oakhill. I don't know, that might be a ticket there. I'm not too sure how the stewards will take that. Oh, bit of contact. El Sonido being very reckless on the inside. Again, AC Oakhill just getting a little bit caught up in some contact there. You got contact coming into the final hairpin, and then the left-hander coming on the start-finish straight. El Sonido dives it down the inside as well, so getting really unlucky through the line. Definitely, and I just want to talk about this. I don't know if the Jaws 32 is just having trouble with his setup today, but he's been locking up into every corner. I've been watching him today. He's been locking up the tyres. Just one of the tyres, though, so he is being a little bit reckless with his tyres as well. So he could be out of the running here, as he is on new tyres. He's on medium tyres. Admittedly, he might not be able to manage the end of the race on these things if he continues to lock up his tyres. Yeah, he didn't lock up that time, but Sir Sharks nearly having a bit of a dive bomb on him there. Yeah. The tunnel section, I think. Tunnel section's got a bit of a runoff. Yeah. Yeah, and I just wanted to, push your attention back to El Sonido again. It's a free battle here between these cars. They're all kind of fighting for position. As El Sonido, he's probably going to get past on, I don't know why the camera's doing that, but on the back straight here, as Search Arch is going to have DRS, and so is El Sonido, so it's going to be potentially free wide here. They're going to take him on both sides. Oh, good defense. IRL Matt's planting his car. He's actually making El Sonido go to the outside. Very nicely done from him. Is it going to be enough, though? Bit of a lock-up, admittedly. Are we going to see a bit of a change in position? Yes, we are. As IRL Matt loses 2 positions down that back straight as he decides to dive into the pits there. I think he's decided his hards are done. And he needs a fresh set. And I want to put your attention back to Botch Gerbil. He pitted only 3 laps ago, and he's back up in first position again. So he's been extremely dominant around Shanghai. He's been doing a lot of practice, it seems, around here over recent days. I do believe we're at Canada next week as well, which is another high downforce track. Oh, just saying, obviously I think we're at Canada next week, which is also another high downforce circuit that's got a lot of power. Yeah. Is it Spain, is it? Okay. Catalonia. Yeah, we were just on board there. Fantastic move on the outside. Josh 32 going fastest lap there as well, even though he is locking his tyres quite a lot. Quite a lot of scrub actually coming into this corner as well. I think that's the best thing. Oh, Josh 32 a little bit too heavy on the power there as we're on board with him. But yeah, I'm going to say now that that could be just because he was starting to die on his tyres. He was involved in a lot of battling that I don't think he was, he was accounting for. DJ Danny also in the pits now. He is on a fresh set of mediums. He'll probably be taking those to the end. Raza 410 as well on fresh set, and Thunderdome. Be interesting to find out at the end of the race if we get a chance to speak to him, not maybe on stream, but we might have a quick chat with him after the stream has ended and find out for you guys for next week. Botch Gerbil just leading this race. He's tanking ahead. He's already 2.6 seconds ahead of the Josh 32. He managed to set this car up perfectly around here. I think, yeah, there's not much else to say other than Botch Gerbil just sets his car up every week now to just be so successful. Josh 32 getting a 3-second time penalty, as he did actually take the last corner quite wide, as we were talking about before the start of the stream. Drove into the pits. Drove into pits. Yep. Yeah, definitely, and it'd be interesting to see where they stand at the end of this race, as obviously they done reasonably well actually on Tuesday night when it was wet. We can see though that AC Oakhill running a 6th position at the moment. His tyres are going to be pretty much shot now. 18 laps round here on hards is taking its toll. I can tell he's actually a lot slower through the corners than James F1, who's just, you know, again 7 seconds down from Sir Sharks at the moment. So a podium at the moment is just a little bit out of reach for him. Sir Sharks has a bit of a gap to make up on Sir Sharks. Sorry for that. I actually just dropped my controller and it decided it was going to spin through. I wasn't meaning to do that, but we're down at DJ Danny now as Raz has already made a move on Light Shock. As we'll go up here. Light Shock had nothing there. Yep. Can I just also, I want to push your attention to the Josh 32, who is starting to push and gain time on Botch Gerbil. He is now 1.2 seconds off of the back of Botch Gerbil's Renault in the Racing Point, the Pink Panther racing car. Yeah, they're pretty much after lap 1, pretty much, yeah. You've got to grain them a little bit, yeah. We could actually be on for a 2-horse race for the win, though. Yeah, in talking about that, because Botch Gerbil's on hards for 6 laps, and Josh 32's on mediums for 4. So, obviously, the Josh 32, his tyres are going to start dying out towards the end of the race. So if he does get past Botch Gerbil, his tyre life could actually give him the win. Now there's only a second gap pretty much between them. If he manages to gain a little bit more time, he might get him in the next DRS straight at the back straight here at the Shanghai International Raceway. Sorry, that's American. Grand Prix circuit. Raceway. Raza 410 as well at the back of... Yeah, Raza 410 at the back of AC Oakhill now. AC Oakhill could lose position to Raza with the newer tyres on, especially on the mediums. So we'll just jump on board with AC Oakhill as we just see the front of that pink Racing Point. Actually loses the back end a little bit there, but nice. He looked for a gap that was formed from AC Oakhill. It seems that AC Oakhill's weakness is the second sector through that more technical part of the track, which is kind of strange for the Aston, having, you know, pretty much downforce for the cars. They knew the car was going to struggle on overall horsepower for that year. Yeah, have you actually listened to the podcast that he did on his new? Well, not a podcast, but an Audible thing on how to build an F1 car. Very nicely done. It's going to be down to these last 6 to 5 laps. Can he keep his tyres in the optimum window by scrubbing less with them? As we've seen, he's been very reckless with his mediums today. Quite a lot of locking up into corners. A little bit too fast, admittedly. There he does it again. going to defend on the inside, I think. If Vojtech has a chance, he obviously has a bit of time yet, as he knows that the Josh 32's tyres. I mean, he's just locked up again. I think the pressure is getting to him now as Vojtech, I mean, he's quite scary to be racing against. He is quite the character on the track. He's probably one of the more respectful drivers on the grid, wouldn't you say, Dom? Yeah. Just downright pace monster, yeah. Pretty much, yep. AC Oakhill now out on softs as well. Sorry, Dom, to cut in. Yeah, I just thought I would drop in on that. Yeah. And yeah, if we talk F1 points, he needs to be in the top 10 to be able to score fastest lap points here. And I do believe I think it's 2 points for a fastest lap on the RP, and you get a point, I think, for putting the car on pole position in pole position events. Obviously this one, there was no quali, it was just a reverse grid from last week's race around Paul Ricard, which again, quite a high downforce track as well. AMG Reckless. I mean, I think the only track on the grid nowadays that isn't so downforce dependent is Monza, because most cars run pretty much flat wings around about there, and it's just about who has the overall pace and who can put their car around the track a bit faster than the other, really. Temple of speed, as they say. Yep. Yep. Jimmy 29X as well, he's in there, I think. Yeah. I just want to say as well, while we were talking, AC Oakhill made a move in Sector 1, round turn 2 and 3, on which was AMG Reckless, who is on the 5-lap old mediums, and obviously AC Oakhill having his soft tyres turned on now. He's going to be going to try and get past Jamie 29X. I think it's going to be a fight for points now to see who can push a little bit better. He's a little bit of a wider line. He's actually went extremely wide around there. He's going to spin. No, he manages to keep the car planted. Very nicely done from him. He shouldn't have went so wide though. I think he just felt the pressure with obviously the fact that AMG Reckless is just breathing down the back of him now. Has DRS. Is he going to move to the inside on a switchback? No. He just knows he's not going to get into turn 1 and turn 2 very well if he does that. But again, Vojtech actually, 3 laps left of this race to go, and Vojtech, he's 1.6 seconds down, so this could be the Josh 32's day to get a win. Yeah. Raza 410 as well in the back of James F1 ETC now. He's breathing down the neck again of the Renaults. I think the Renaults are at risk here. I think El Senado as well, his lap tires are only 1 lap younger than Bot's Gerbil, so if he can make a good impression with the Mercedes in the next 2 laps, he could be on the back of Bot's Gerbil as well, so Bot's Gerbil could be in trouble, but I think it's highly unlikely in all the grand scheme of things, unless El Senado has a lot of ERS to use this lap. He is going to be in a position 410. Raza getting a 3-second time penalty as well, so I mean, less than half the grid today having time penalties again. This track is just notorious for its positioning of the cars. If you make a mess, you're off track, and that's it. But I do believe this is really the only battle on track. That's what I was thinking. I just got the points the wrong way round. But as again we see, Bot's Gerbil is now catching the Josh 32. He's under a second now. So that's an interesting battle as well. I think that's more important than the one we were watching a minute ago. I do think that's, you know, Bot's Gerbil is just a little bit more braver on the brakes now, as I think, as we predicted, the Josh 32's tires are starting to wear, as we are going to see this. I think Bot's Gerbil making a mess of that last corner, as it's put him down a little bit, but again, can the Josh 32 hold on just for 2 more laps around the Shanghai International Racing Circuit? I'm not going to say Raceway, because it's not Sonoma. Grand Prix circuit. There we go. Yeah. He's actually just gained a position as well. Yeah, I think talking about that. Yeah, and I think actually you can see he's just constantly locking up. I wonder if it's just a setup thing for him, as he's now 2 seconds ahead, so he is holding on to that lead. If he makes a mistake on this last lap, he could be at major risk here, but right now he is on the way to making another win for himself this season. I don't think, has he had a win? That'll be quite interesting to find out. She's locked up again. El Senado is now all over the back of Bot's Gerbil in this last lap. So in these three, oh, and the Josh 32 getting another 3-second time penalty. So now, in the grand scheme of things, he is not going to finish in the top 3. That is interesting, because he could be just knocked down into 4th at this position. And Sir Sharks, he could actually, if Sir Sharks makes a position, I doubt, he is just going to finish in 3rd. Bot's Gerbil is going to finish the race in 1st, and El Senado, if I can remember rightly, he's just going to finish, I think, in Elite at the moment. Yeah. Yeah, and just talking about that, James F1 was actually in position there to get back at Raza on the final straight, but has lost a little bit of time through Sector 2 to Raza with the higher downforce car of the pink Mercedes, unfortunately just being a little bit stronger through there. I don't know why the camera decides that it's going to zoom in continuously there as the car is going around the corner. We can't see the high downforce, but as we can see, I think we'll just jump on with the leader of the race at the moment as he takes the finish. As it stands, Bot's Gerbil takes the win here for the RP race at China, round 10. Fantastic drive from him, puts him in P1, El Senado in third, the Josh 32 in second. So a good drive from the Josh 32 and El Senado to get themselves onto the podium once more at round 10 of the Xbox RP League run by the Invictus Racing League organisation. Fantastic drive. I think Ferramoto's not had a very good race today. He's about 30 seconds down on 13th. I think he had a bit of a spin that's killed his tyres, and obviously you said he had damage to the car, so it's a bit unfortunate there. But Stallion W7, 2 seconds behind as well. I think after having damage, that just ruined his race. I can see a bit of a spat going on in the Discord later, as we're getting guys joining the party for interviews now. Remember and put your party audio on, and we'll get to you guys in a second as we're just waiting for things to finish.
Very much so.
Yeah, you can run whatever you need to do, buddy. As El Senado's in. So we will probably talk third to first at the moment. So we've got El Senado, who finished in third position. And then we'll have the Josh 32 who finished second, and Bots Gerbil, who finished first. So fantastic racing, everybody. We'll just wait for all this stuff to finish. But yeah, that was a fantastic drive from everybody. I don't know if could we maybe, I think it's El Senado, just turn down the party your audio because we can hear a playback of my voice. It's fantastic. So now that we have everything up on the screen, let's start with the interviews. El Senado, fantastic race today. How did it go from your point of view? Yeah, definitely. I mean, how did you feel being in that Merc? I think you were so much more confident in that car than most other people were in their cars today. You know, was it better being in the Merc? Yeah, just one more question for me. I don't know if Dom's got any questions for you, but when you had, like, you know, the mid-race kind of battling through the track, when you, I think it was it DJ Danny you were trying to get by, and you must have had a good battle for about 3-4 laps with him. How did that feel? Like, were you getting a little bit frustrated having to like try and attack and defend from him all the time? Definitely, that was some really good driving from you. And Dom, have you got any questions?
Um, Great result here. Obviously, Spain next week. How are you feeling going into such a long track that's so physically demanding in a way? Well, that's awesome, and congratulations from myself today. And I'm pretty much
Very well done.
sure everyone can congratulate you too for coming P3.
That was our P3 for today's race, El Sonedo. We'll go on to P2 now, the Josh 32. A little bit of a heartbreak for you because you did technically finish first, but your penalties let you down. How did the race go from your point of view?
Well, first of all, I want to apologize for any spelling or grammatical errors. I'm not a native, so yeah, speaking English isn't particularly my strength, but I mean,
Don't worry about it.
considering that I haven't really practiced for that race today, I think I can be actually quite happy with P2. Did I have the pace today to win? Most likely, but at the end of the day, I made too many mistakes and have to give it to Botch Jabril. Unfortunately, like at the beginning of the race, the guys that had just lost touch to him and battled a bit too much, and this obviously resulted in me being a bit far back, and I had to push very, very hard to catch up. And unfortunately, I made too many errors, and yeah, finished P2. Mixed feelings about it, but at the end of the day, I think I'll take it.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. I mean, you were having some really weird lockups. On it seemed to be one wheel lockups going into corners. Was that intentional, or were you just going a little too fast in the corners?
I think it was just a case of me being a bit too rusty, to be honest. I haven't really played this game lately that much, so I think obviously locking up isn't going to help the tires and the tire wear, especially around the track like China with a very fast middle sector, which is basically demanding everything from the tires. So yeah, I think it didn't help, and I kind of felt that my fronts were just in the final two laps were completely gone.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we could see that as well. You were under pressure from the bot's gerbil through, I think, the last two laps it was, but unfortunately, I think he made a little mistake and he kind of went out of touch with you. So, I mean, overall, do you think for Spain you'll do a little bit more practice than you did this week?
I mean, it really depends on my school schedule. Schools are going to open next week, and it really depends if I find the time to practice for it. But
Hmm.
Spain isn't really my strongest track, and with many corners and many curves that can spin you out immediately if you take them if you take them if you drive over them in the wrong line, I think it's probably not going to be my best race. But I mean, obviously I wasn't expecting much for this race either, so who knows what will happen.
Perfect. And I think, Dom, do you have a question?
Yeah. So obviously, congratulations on P2. Um, the P1 was very deserved had the time penalties not have been a factor, um, because the race was so hard fought. Obviously, there's multiple different strategies you can bring to China. What helped you sort of lock in the strategy that you picked?
To be completely honest with you, I just picked the first one that appeared on my screen. Like I said, I haven't really practiced that race or looked up the strategy, but I knew that a medium hard would probably work around the track like China. I think, obviously, with the front tires being dragged through the high-speed corners, it's obviously going to be a struggle for them. But I knew that the soft tires were just they are a very short-lived tire on that track, and I mean, they are very quick in qualifying. In terms of race pace, I kind of knew before that race that they were probably not going to do me any favors, so I just picked the medium and the hard strategy, and it probably also suits my kind of driving style because I can't really do like do the most make the most out of my soft tires, and so I'm actually quite like my strength is driving on like the harder compound, so there was literally no reason for me to pick another strategy, I think.
Yeah, I do
Definitely,
not
and I
blame
think
you at all. If I'm not mistaken, I read somewhere. In fact, yeah, this is so you've matched tonight your best finish of the season. Congratulations. Hopefully, you can up your best performance, your best two performances now, with a win at Spain.
Thank you very much,
definitely,
guys.
yeah, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you,
And
thank you for having me.
yeah, so that was the Josh 32, our second place finisher tonight in the Invictus Racing League RP on the Xbox. And now we go on to the All of Famed race winner, Botch Gerbil. Complete
Hello.
domination from you in, on the first part of that race. How did the race go from your point of view?
Yeah, I mean, the start couldn't have gone better. I think everyone just battled in front of me, and I was able to pick up the best bits of it and just be able to take off at the start on the first stint on the mediums. Um, and the hard stint, I was just really managing my tires towards the end. I had to give a big shout out to P1 and P2. They were both destroying my lap times at one point. I was just falling away, but I was able to hold it off to the end, and luckily, Josh had a couple of penalties, so I was able to snag the win there at the end and just keep the 3-second gap.
Definitely, and I think as well when we look back at the race that you've had, I mean, there wasn't many mistakes you made. Did you do a lot of practice this week on China?
I did one race as like pre-practice today, and then I did like a half an hour of just strategy, trying to work out what would be the best strategy, and then yeah, I did make one really bad mistake. I think on the second last lap, I almost spun it all completely. But was able to just hang on there and then yeah, finish the race.
Yeah, I think that's going on to the point that I said earlier when we were talking to Josh 32, because you were getting closer to the Josh 32. You probably would have had him on that next lap if you hadn't made that mistake, because you would then gain time again and just pushed it. So, did you start to feel, a little bit nervous that you weren't going to get the position back, that you were wanting, or?
Yeah, I think with 8 laps to go, I started to get a little nervous. Josh had a lot of pace and he was flying up. And then he got past me and he broke the DRS gap pretty quick. And I was just trying to keep that 3 second. And then, yeah, I guess the mediums just wore out a little bit quicker than the hards did. And I had a little bit more to push with at the end. So I was trying to catch up. And yeah, maybe it's always nice to finish first on track. Actually get the win, but I'll take it on penalties either way.
Yeah, it was very well done from you either way. I don't know if Dom's got another question for you.
Yes, I do. First of all, as I said to the other lads, and I'm going to say it to you again, congratulations for a P1. This is your second of the season now.
Thank you.
As has been mentioned, it is Spain next week. With the silent S for most people. However, I personally enjoy it from a driver's point of view, and enjoy it from a commentator's point of view. Are you going to be comfortable and looking to match this result again next week, 2 on the bounce?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be hard to pull out 2 P1s in a row, but Spain is another tricky one with strategies. The one stop seems to be a lot quicker around there, just like today here at China. So it'll really come down to who makes the most of the strategy, and luckily today we didn't have any safety cars, but I expect with Spain we'll maybe have 1 or 2, so that'll throw a mix into it. So definitely looking forward to it. One of my stronger tracks as well, so definitely hoping to at least get on the podium. Hopefully be able to run this up again with another P1.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be here next week, so I will wish you all luck for next week and hope to hear you on the podium through the Twitch live stream. But yeah, congratulations here tonight. Good luck for next week, and
Thank you.
I will leave it with our main man, Andrew.
excellent work from everybody tonight. Even if you didn't finish on the podium, you know, you definitely had a good race for everyone's point of view. Congratulations to Botch Gerbil for taking the win, El Senado for taking third, and the Josh 32 for managing to hold on to second place. It was a very difficult race from a driver's point of view, I can assume. And yeah, you guys did awesome. So very well done to you guys, and hopefully we can chat to you guys next week on the podium. But that is all we have time for on the Invictus Racing League Twitch channel for tonight from the Xbox Realistic Performance League. Obviously, we will be back next week with myself, Andriy, and hopefully we should have Matt Valander on with us, as well as he's hopefully going to get back on the air in time so he can take it all from his job's point of view. But anyway, hopefully we can see you guys again with us on the Twitch channel next Tuesday for the Equal Performance League with Keiran Wright 92 and obviously the wonderful Dom the Noodle, who is sitting in the party with me right now. He hasn't left just yet. He hasn't left me to die.
No,
just
I'm
yet,
not. I'm
but
not like
yes.
I'm not like your dear friend Matt Valorant.
Yes, Valorant. I mean, you could say Valorant. But hopefully we can catch you guys next week, and yeah, hopefully for a good race around Spain with the silent S. Thank you everybody for tuning in tonight, and hopefully we can catch you guys next week for Pain with myself, Andrew Gattin. I am signing out, and from Dom himself, we say thank you for tuning in.